Добрый день всем. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we will be conducting presentation about our Global Undergraduate Exchange Program, in short, Global UGRAD program. Let me introduce, my name is Parvina Adylova. I work as Cultural Affairs Assistant at US Embassy Dushanbe. Also, we're super lucky to have our program alumni, Nilufar and Alisher that will be also sharing with you their experience participating in this program. So without further ado, let's start this presentation. And if anyone viewing this presentation today will have any questions, feel free to type in your questions and we will be glad to answer to your questions. So, Global Undergraduate Exchange Program is fully funded by the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs of the US Department of State. It is implemented by World Learning Organization, and the goal of the program is to promote democracy, economic prosperity, international cooperation, and mutual understanding. The length of the program is 1 academic year, and this program is for outstanding undergraduate students that currently study in their first, second, or third years. This program is for one academic semester of undergraduate non-degree study at different colleges, universities, all across the United States. And when students are selected for this program, they will be placed at different colleges and universities in the US. Students will be taking different courses in their fields, as well as US study courses. The standard number of credits is about 12 hours, and students live usually in university housing. And sometimes there are some students who live with host families. So students do not choose their universities or do not choose their host cities. Those host cities and host universities will be selected by World Learning and ECA. So here I can just stop and give Nilufar and Alisher a chance to share where exactly did they study, talk about their US host cities and host colleges. Nilufar, can we start from you, please?
Hello, my name is Nilufar. I am Global UGRAD Program Alumni 2019-2020. As Parvina has already mentioned, the programs will place students in different colleges and universities across the United States, and they will be placed in campus housing. I had my semester at New Mexico Highland University, which is placed in Las Vegas and New Mexico State.
Alisher, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Alisher. So I've been studying at the University of South Dakota. So I've been in the state South Dakota. I studied there. So my city was called Wilmillion. So it was a small city, but the university was very good and the people were very good. And the surrounding area is completely comfortable for the studying and I would say, like, it was the best place to study I would study there for my bachelor degree, my master's degree, for sure.
Thank you, guys. So basically, those host cities and host universities that were selected by the program are always great universities, and they're pre-approved by the program. Besides that, also all Global UGRAD students, they have to complete community service hours. This is a very important part of the program. And also it's 20 hours of community service in the host community. So in the slide, we see here a student volunteering building homes. And there can be different volunteering opportunities in host communities. Usually, this is something that either program helps with, or the community service opportunities are very, very broad. So do you guys mind sharing, like, did you do any volunteering in your host communities, and how do you find those volunteering opportunities? Nilufar, right?
Yes, as it was mentioned above, the program requires students to complete 20 hours of community service in their host communities. We did it as well. Um, we could find the list of places where volunteers were needed in the student center at our host institution. I did my community service at Christian Food Service Center. There we served food for homeless people. Because of the pandemic, we did less community service activities, less than 20 hours. And then I had an opportunity to have a talk with American people, and also to meet other students from the United World College as well, which is also based in Las Vegas. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, as was mentioned before, we have to complete 20 hours of community work. So I did as well. So the first time when it was like in the Martin Luther King Day, so we were divided into several groups. So we went to some autism centers and some orphanage. So basically we were doing like moving tables, like chairs, moving heavy objects and on other stuff. And also on Mondays, I wanted to do the food service. So basically I was kind of a cook. So I was sharing food. I was dividing the food to the people. So yeah, it's a very good experience so far for me, like getting out to different people, and at the same time to, for example, helping them and understanding them and talking to them at the same time.
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing this. And this shows that it's a very important part, because as a member of community, and it doesn't matter, you can be in US doing volunteering, or you can come back here to Tajikistan, to your host cities. It's very important to understand that each one of us have an impact on our surroundings. So any community service, any volunteering that we do, we help our society. So that's something that also important to learn from this exchange program. Also, we would mention that important part of the program is cultural exchange. So many students, what they do, they conduct country presentations and talk and educate Americans about their countries. Students can use different methods, or they can share photos, music, food, dance with Americans. Because again, there can be different cases. There can be, you might have course mates or people from your community who did not know much about Tajikistan. Maybe some of them never heard about Tajikistan. So each one of the participants are representing Tajikistan in US. And this is very important, to be a representative that is able to share part of their culture. Is it something that you guys did or shared with Americans during the program? Did you get a chance to do anything? Would you mind just telling about that?
Yeah, I would like to share a bit. It's a great honor to represent your country in different country. I had an opportunity to share the culture of Tajikistan among my peers, not only Americans, but students from other countries as well. I could say I dance more than I have ever danced in my home country. Um, there I brought some gifts. I shared it with my roommates, and they were so happy. And they every night they asked me to play music and dance together, Tajik dance. Um, yeah, I guess that's it. Um, it's a great pleasure and it's a great opportunity to have the chance to share your culture, your music, your tradition among other people.
Yeah, I would share as well. So I will tell beforehand, I'm not that good at dancing, but at least I try to represent my country in a way. So I made a presentation about my home country, about my culture, about the Tajik values. So what we are known in the world. And also I was planning to make a culture fest. So we were doing in March, but because of the pandemic, everything was closed. And unfortunately, we were not able. So in that place, I was trying to cook sambusa for the American guys. So if the pandemic would not be, so definitely this would cultural fest would be very great, and I will be very happy to represent my home country as well. But still, I was try my best to share my culture, share my values as well.
Right. This is always amazing to learn and share about your culture and learn more about new cultures. So we've talked about the fact that this program is fully funded by US Department of State. But here's a slide that shows you in detail what exactly is being covered by this program. So participants that are being selected for this program, they're provided J1 visa support. There is also a round-trip travel from students' home city to host institution in the United States is provided. And it doesn't matter which city you're from. If you're from Dushanbe, then you fly directly from Dushanbe. If you're from other cities of Dushanbe, the trip to Dushanbe and all the way to US is fully funded. Program participants are also provided with accidents and sickness coverage. Tuition and mandatory university fees are also being paid by the program. Room and board, housing and meals, small incidental allowance for anything extra that you might have or you would want to spend in US. Limited allowance for books that are required for your studies, and variety of alumni networking and training opportunities. So basically, everything that you might, any expense that you might face with in US is being covered by the program, including just a small allowance for anything extra. Support in the US. So we've mentioned that World Learning is the organization that supports all of our students when they are in the United States. And staff member, each student will be assigned with a staff member from an organization that is going to be a primary contact in case of different issues that might arise. For example, if you will need any help with adjusting in this new culture to you, guiding you in choosing your courses or community service projects, help with communicating with host institution, advisors, faculty. So all of that is going to be coordinator, that staff member is going to be helping you with. So can you guys come up or just share if there have been any issues that you faced or any challenges that you needed assistance from a World Learning staff member during the program?
As it was mentioned earlier, students, I thought I had an advisor. I could say three advisors. One of them was from the World Learning staff, another one from the US Embassy in Dushanbe staff member, and another one was my advisor from my host institution. Whenever I had any difficulties or any questions, they were always happy and ready to assist. Um, uh, Overall, we didn't have any difficulties at all because they always were in contact with us, asking every time And every week they always ask us if there is any difficulties we are facing. Um, we didn't face any difficulties at all. Maybe at the end of the program, because of the pandemic, we had some um, issues that concern us a lot. Otherwise, everything was okay.
Yes, I would also add that you can address them with any questions which you have. For example, in my case, I had lost my baggage during the road to the US. So even with this question, I asked my advisor to help me out. And in the end, we figured it out together. So my baggage arrived to me a week later, but still it arrived safely. And so yeah, you can address them with any questions which you have. And in any case, they will be happy to, for example, assist you, help you. And I also had some questions regarding my studies. So I also try to address them with these questions, and they were always very happy to help me.
Yeah, so again, that's very important because every student that goes to US, every program participant is in new environment, in new country, and there are lots of new things and lots of different issues like loss of baggage. So yes, it's very important to have that person that you can rely, that you can contact in case of anything happens and you get assistance. So and host community support, and you would also our program participants do have that support as well. They have host advisors, as Alisher mentioned, that they referred as well. They can help with just making this community in US feel like something back at home, just make you welcome, offer daily support and advice, and help identify courses, identify community service. So there are lots of ways that students are being supported during this program, which is very good because we want all of our students to have great experience during the program. So yeah, we can go to the slide that talks about who can be a Global UGRAD student. And I see some of the questions already, and we might answer to those questions along the way because it comes within the slide. So in order to be or to participate or apply for this program, you have to be citizen of Tajikistan, meet all eligibility requirements, and the main eligibility requirement, you have to be a full-time student that currently studies in first, second, third year at university. In some cases, it can be fourth, maybe it's a medical school, as long as you're not in your last year of studies at university. That's the whole point. So you will need to submit an online application by the deadline. Usually, a program is being announced in November, December. So just keep an eye on the announcement. Last year, we had a deadline December 31st. This year, as soon as the announcement goes out, we will know what is the deadline. So just follow our embassy pages to make sure that you do not miss the announcement and apply right away. And students need to be eligible for USJ1 visa. And this is the case for those people who participated in other J1 exchange programs. There are certain requirements after participating in a program. Students need to return and complete their 2-year residency rule. So that's what we're talking about. Make sure before applying for UGRAD, you completed your J1 visa to your home residency requirement. So program regulations. Immediately upon program completion, students must return to their home countries for 2 years. That's the requirement of the program. And why does the program requires that? Because all the knowledge and experience our program participants got in US, the idea of the program is we want program expects students to come back to Tajikistan and share those experiences and those knowledge and their with host communities. For example, Alisher got back to Tajikistan and is very actively, and Nilufar are very actively involved with different community services. They share their knowledge about the program. I know that some of you guys conduct presentations about the program and about different other parts of the program that you learned during the semester in US. And students will need to continue students may not continue their studies in US, so it's a 1 semester long program, and once it's over, return is required. And students may not work while participating in this program. So that's about just regulations that we would like to mention. And then Alisher, like, do you mind if I'll just throw a question at you? So what exactly have you done after you returned back to Tajikistan? Did you spend time going back to university, or what else has been going on? And how did you manage to share with your host community?
Oh yeah, thank you. So yeah, after I arrived, so it was kind of a during the peak of the pandemic in Tajikistan. So it was quite difficult to, for example, to meet with some people, to kind of conduct presentations and other stuff. But since the conditions are much better right now, so right now I'm trying to do my best. So many people are writing to me regarding the application procedure of the UGRAD program. So I'm trying to help them out regarding the essays, regarding the, like in general, with the interviews and other stuff. So basically, yeah, I'm trying to help them out, and also in the future, in the near future, I will also help to, for example, the community service, for example, like providing debate rounds and read workshops in the future. And yeah, for now, yeah, like this.
Yeah, great. And you had chance to share. I remember about how to conduct interviews and how to answer to interview questions. So it's all the knowledge that you got from the program. And thank you so much for all our program participants, UGRAD and other US Department of State programs, for sharing this knowledge with others. It's very important. So selection process, just to make sure, how does the selection process works? We had a question from the audience if this program will be announced this year. We are expecting an announcement. As soon as it's announced, we will be sharing widely on embassy webpage, on our social media about the program announcement, with mentioning the deadline. And all applications will be accepted before the deadline. So after the deadline, all applications are first reviewed for technical eligibility. What does it mean? So you will need to be a full-time student. You will need to have all the required documentation attached, like university transcripts, etc. So that is going to be reviewed as well. All eligible applications will be read, evaluated, and ranked by a panel of academic specialists. So we would have in some cases, our diplomats, US diplomats, who will be reviewing all those applications and conducting interviews with those candidates. Once the highest rankings, for example, if theoretically we might receive around, I don't know, for example, like 200 applications, and not everyone can be interviewed because there's so many of them, and highest ranked applications will be invited for the interview. Those are just a semi-finalist. And once interviews are conducted, then selection will be announced as well. That is important part. After selection is announced, our program participants will be required to take TOEFL tests. And after that, we announce our finalists and alternate candidates for the program. So in order to be a great applicant, you cannot say you have to have good grades in university and that's it, you will be successful. There are so many aspects that are very important to be considered a very successful applicant for this program. And here's a list and we can just go through them. You would obviously have to have academic excellence, good grades at university would be important. Cross-cultural interests that you will write in your essays, demonstrated leadership potential, that's very important. Proficiency in English, both written and spoken. Written will be evaluated through the application, and spoken would be evaluated through the interview that is going to be conducted. Flexibility, suitability as an exchange student, that's very important as well. Commitment to returning to home country after completion of the program, because that's also one of the requirements. Preference to applicants living outside of capital cities. That's one of the program that makes an applicant strong as well. And preference to students with disadvantages or just no prior experience outside of their countries. So there's a list, and there are lots of aspects that are being taken into consideration when applications are being reviewed by selection committee. So whenever all this and semifinalists are being included, I've mentioned that TOEFL exams are required as well. That's important to know, because TOEFL exams are going to influence where you will be placed as a student, as a UGRAD participant. Finalists notified before going to US. All the finalists are going to be provided with information, and just a pre-departure orientation is going to be conducted in home country, basically to provide all the information required to explain how the program works and whom should you contact if you have any questions, and what can you face with, like for example, culture shock in US, because again, you are in totally different environment. Alisher, I see your smile, and I'll probably ask you right now, did you face anything when you traveled to US? Were any difficulties that you faced with and you coped with? Can you just share with us and with audience?
Yes, of course. So once I arrived to the United States, so the main problem for me was to get to the hotel. So in that time, I didn't know about the shuttles, so I didn't have any idea of how to get to my hotel. So yeah, this kind of situations, maybe I need to request from you, for example, to be strict, to ask people to help you. So in that case, I asked some people to help me out. So they figured out, and they said that the shuttle will come up in 5 or 15 minutes. And the other problem was when I arrived to my state, it was a little bit colder than usual. So it shocked me out. And this program requires from you to be, for example, confident to, to accept the new challenges which you can face during your road, and to become the winner and the next steps, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, flexibility is very, very important again, right?
Yeah, sure.
So once the program is announced, you'll be able to see application link, because there's no applications that are being accepted hard copies of paper copies. Everything, all the applications are being submitted online. And here's the link, and whenever we announce, we'll also widely share the link to the online application with everyone as well. So if you are eligible for this program and you are considering to apply, there are some things that you should consider during filling out the application. You will need to complete online application, answer to all the questions that are listed in the application, make sure that you provide electronic signature, make sure that you save and submit your application online, complete all the required essays, provide recommendation letters, provide official translation of any recommendation letters if they're not in English, because again, everything is going to be reviewed by Americans. So just make sure that all your application is either in English or has an official translation into English. Official transcripts with university, faculty, and just that provides a list of exams and your grades that you have. So If official transcripts are not in English, then make sure that translations are being provided as well. If certificate of completion of secondary education with certified English translation, this is for first year students. So just maybe to explain it a little in details, when we ask for university transcripts, in case of students that are in their second or third year, they don't have they have their official transcripts, but in case when this is someone who is in their first year of university, they don't have their grades yet because it's usually during first semester, and that's okay. We ask for transcript, but if you do not have any grades or any official transcripts yet, you will need to provide your list of grades from high school. That's to replace the transcript, university transcript. And also a photocopy of the face page of your passport and ID card will be required in the application. So talking here, we've mentioned about essays. Would you mind, Alisher, and we have Nilufar as well, would you mind like mentioning, was it hard to write an essay? What are the tips or what are the suggestions that you have to students who want to participate in this program and just have hard time with writing those essays?
Okay, let me start first, sorry. So basically start writing before the deadline. Because in my case, I wrote my essay in about 2 or 3 days. I just had 2 or 3 days before the deadline and I was in a hurry, but still I managed somehow to write it. And the main advice would be start right earlier. So you will have to rewrite it every single time you can show it. So as an example, you can show it, for example, to those persons who already passed this program, or the ones who can really understand the essays, I mean, the structure and how to write good essays in general. So you can show them and they can fix your minor problems. And also I would suggest to write, how to say, tell them a story. In my case, I told them my story and it was successful, fortunately. And in other cases, I cannot say for, so it actually depends completely on you, on your contribution to your community, on how on your plans, and yes, like this.
Nilufar, any suggestions from your side regarding essays? Because again, you're students who've been successful in this program. What did you do? What did you guys write that made you?
Yeah, I am also agree with Alisher's point that we should start writing our essays as early as possible because we will be given 2 months, 2 months because the deadline is at the end of December. Our deadline was in that time. But I started writing my essay before the application was announced. I was so hurry and I was so eager to apply in this program, and I started preparing before the application started. Most people, I mentioned that most people start their essays with some quotes of any poems or any great people, and I decided to write my own version, my own version, to write a quote or saying of any person who is close to me. For example, I wrote my father's saying, my teacher's saying. I started my essay with their saying and how it impacts my life and how it impact also to my personality as well. Another suggestion would be to make 100 draft, I could say. It doesn't matter how much drafts you have, but overall write drafts, first write on papers, because most people, most students who were applying with me, they started typing online, but it would be better if you write on paper first and then correct the mistakes and make draft and to show it maybe to any alumni of the same program. For example, I could ask alumni from the UGRAD program there was a UGRAD program alumni from my city. He also helped me on giving advices. Overall, it wasn't as much difficult as I expected. It was easy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for those tips and suggestions. It's very useful. So I guess we've talked about different aspects of the program. And again, if the audience will have any questions right now, we'll just go through questions as well. And if later on, if someone is watching the recorded version of today's session, feel free to contact us and email us and ask details. Again, we always suggest if there's anything that is not clear, feel free to ask. Make sure that you understand everything before you apply for the program, and make sure that you do everything possible to have a very strong application that stands out among many, many other applications. So there's a question. It's for you guys. What was your first impression when you were in US? Mind sharing?
Go ahead, Nilufar.
Yeah, I would share my first impression. I guess my flight was delayed. It's before going to US because I was making myself ready for any challenges that I will face. It's obviously we can face challenges during our trip. And then my first impression would be is education system in US because I have never had online classes in my home country. There I had my first online classes there. And then the culture also was totally different from what I used. And another one would be the life among American peers was the highlight of my trip to US. I guess that was all. Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree to join the words which said by Nilufar, and I'll also try to add. So the first impression of mine was as far as I lost my baggage, and when I arrived to the USD, University of South Dakota, so there was a person who gave me not his t-shirt, but the other t-shirt, and in that time I was really in need of this t-shirt, so I was impressed by their kindness, by their friendness, so it helped me a lot. So yeah, it was a good time, and also I impressed by the people themselves, like the variety of cultures, the diversity there is very huge. So you can meet a lot of people from the other countries as well. So yeah, there's a good diversity, which of course will be helpful for ourselves, for the students, and yes, so you will make for sure many friends from different parts of the world.
Yeah, thank you. And there are some other questions that I see that are being asked. I can reply to them as well. Can university students who are in their first year apply to this program? Yes. As long as you're a full-time university student, please do apply. You're eligible. Will there be UGRAD program this year? We expect it to be announced later this year. Keep an eye on the announcement. Follow US Embassy pages, follow social media pages to make sure that you see announcement right away and have a long period of time to work on your application. Those were the questions that we had so far. And again, if there are any other questions, email us, contact us, contact alumni that if you know them, to double check and ask because they're a very good resource and very good help to everyone who is currently applying. Right? I'm volunteering you for this as well, guys. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure you probably already did answer to many questions. Yeah. Okay, so on this note, I would like to thank Alisher and Nilufar once again for helping us during today's session and sharing experience from your program. Thank you so much, guys. It's very, very great to have you always available and always able to share, willing to share with others. And thank you for everyone listening. Just get in touch with us if you will have any questions.
Thank you very much, Parvina, for giving this opportunity to share our experience while being in US during the Education Week. It was a pleasure to share because, as it said, sharing is caring. So we also were in the place of those students who are applying this year. We always asked and were searching for any help. We would be also happy to help other students who are applying this year. Yeah, you can contact us. We are very happy and ready.
Yeah, thank you very much, Parvina, for inviting us. So, yeah, as was mentioned before, I will try to say it one more time, start writing essays before the deadline. And yes, I will also be happy to answer any of the questions of the participants who will try to apply this year. I will be happy to help you as much as I can. Yeah, try to contact me or Nilufar or other UGRAD alumni. We all will be happy to help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you guys once again, and everyone listening to us, keep be informed that we have other sessions during this week about other programs as well. Tune in and listen to those sessions. Thanks everyone, and goodbye.